on. Hi, everybody. This is Tanya with True Gossip. We're here tonight, and we're going to be talking about the topic we've been here before. Today is June 7th, 2020. We have new panelists today. We have Shantae M. Sergeant from NYPD. She's just retired from 25 years. We have Bishop M. Pleasure, who is a bishop of his church in Greensboro, North Carolina for 10 years. We have Tajuddin Shabazz, who is affiliated with the Nation of Islam. And we have Ken Law, our free thinker tonight. And we have Ramel, our co-host. And we'd like to welcome you to True Gossip. And I'm here with Ramel, and take it away, Ramel.
And True Gossip is a platform for you to express your opinions. It's a platform where there's no right or wrong. We look to learn from one another. Your opinion is your truth, and we're here to talk it up.
And True Gossip is a place where everybody's voice matters. So tonight, like I said, we're going to talk about We've Been Here Before. We have a few questions, and I want to go to the bishop, Bishop Britt. We would like to know, goodness, what makes this protest any different from previous protests and marches?
I would say that this protest is much different than many of marches because this protest is a worldwide march. We've had several marches and we've had marches across the United States, but this is a worldwide march that people have seen that it's time for a change. It's time to make a difference. They see the pain of the African American community. They see the pain that it's not just in the African American community, it's all over and abroad, but just have not been identified in such a manner that it is this day and time. So I believe that the protest for this that makes a difference is that it's a national, worldwide protest.
Kinlaw, your thought?
Going back to something I might have said before, I think what makes this so magnificent is that you're seeing the effect of social media in today's age of social media play a part in this current protest. Word is getting out more expeditiously, and more people are starting to share information and want to be a part of a cause. Not necessarily just through social media, but now just out there physically trying to make a difference. With that, going back to what Bishop was sharing with us, now you're starting to see the effects of this take place worldwide. It's good to see that other people are supporting your cause, and I think that's what is perpetuating the masses across this nation to do things the way they're doing and not buying into the negative content that's coming along with that, that people want to overshadow what is the initial message of everything is. So I think this is a very massive effort on not just Black people, but people from all different backgrounds. And I think that's what it's all about, equality amongst everyone.
Shantae, what do you feel about that about what's going to make a difference? What's going to change you want to see?
What is going to change as far as this is the protesting is concerned?
Yes. What's different from the previous protests?
Okay, the difference is massive people. That's the main difference, and I've seen it because I've been at protests, you know, and demonstrations and everything, and this has been phenomenal, you know, to say the least. It's a big turnout because, you know, a lot of people, I think, you know, they woke. They became woke. Like, you know, they always tell us, you know, we stay woke, but I think everyone else has woke up and they see what, you know, unfortunately what's been going on and how society has treated, you know, people of color. And you know, and it's you know, it's just, you know, everybody sees it. And like he said, social media has a big platform in this, and you know, and I'm just amazed by it, and you know, and it's a good thing. So you know, that's, you know, I just piggyback off of what they said. It pretty much, you know, it's going to make a change. I believe so. And, you know, we just got to believe in that.
I'm gonna say something before I pass it on to Tajudeen. I'm going to say I was out at a protest today, and I was out at a predominantly, you know, it was for Black Lives Matter, but it was predominantly white people there. It was the Hamden area in Maryland where the white people reside, and you know, we had our Black people out there, and I'm just wondering, is that really going to make a change? Because I think that even though we're out there and we're protesting, we're marching. We need them to voice their opinion and voice their, you know, and to be our bodyguard, basically. You know what I'm saying? When they see something wrong, they have to say something. You know what I'm saying? Because if they don't, we're just going to continue to march like we've been marching for the last 50 years. That's my opinion. What do you think, Tajudeen?
My opinion on that is, as brothers in them has said, social media broadcasts that whole 8 minutes and 46 seconds across the world. When you have world leaders in Iran and China talking about they're going to cause a world war against racism. So it's putting the spotlight on the USA, because the USA is always in the position of going to other countries and trying to correct their problems when they got a problem that's been hidden over here. So the social media has exposed the racism that has been going on for the longest to the world. So now they are forced to make a change, you know, a change within ourselves where we kill each other for BS. So that almost gives the racist cops permission to do what they want to. So it puts the focus on everybody and puts especially the United States in the spotlight. You know, so social media help put that out there. And, you know, even they said that the sister that recorded the 8 minutes and 46 seconds, her life is being threatened. So now it's putting not just on that we must protest, it's causing everybody, it's causing the uproar, whether the celebrities have to speak on their positions, it's causing, you know, everything. The economic system, if we boycott, it's messing up, it's like uprooting the whole foundation of the country, that they must address this whole situation of police brutality. So it's different now from the 60s, and it's even really different from the Rodney King situation. You know, we're to the point now, offering welfare checks and food stamps isn't going to quell this whole thing. That's what they did, the threatening of doing that, and with the acquittal of the 4 officers in LAPD with the Rodney King situation. So it's different now.
Add something?
Yeah.
All right. I think this really, you know, made people aware, you know, not just people of color, but everybody, because of that Eric Garner incident. Because you have to remember, those last words that Eric Garner said was, "He can't breathe." And this is the same type of incident that happened. So I think, you know, and people all over this country heard about the Eric Garner incident. And, you know, those last words came out of his mouth, and these are the last words that Floyd said, besides calling his mother. So I think that resonated into people, and, you know, because a lot of what I think it really touched on is, you know, when he called out for his mother, you know, and also saying, "I can't breathe," because a lot of mothers are looking at this and they're wondering, like, you know, not just, you know, mothers of color, but other mothers, because they feel that pain. They can understand that their child, they're looking at this, wow, that could be my son, or that could, you know, or that's my child. So that, I think it really like hit home on that, you know, aspect, because, you know, they had to put themselves in that position, you know, to be able to relate. And I think that's what happened, you know. That's why you see a lot of, you know, women of color, I mean, you know, women, white women out there, you know. And let me tell you, I worked a lot of marches, and, you know, for anything that had to do with Black Lives Matter, it was always negative. It was always negative. And it was like, oh, we got to do this. It was that type of, you know, nobody wanted to be out there, you know, and it was always like negative, you know, shadow over it, you know, no matter what. But, you know, everybody, you know, joined in. So I think, you know, they kind of put themselves in that position. So I think that's why.
I think if I
Let me
can
add
interject
something.
for a minute,
let me add something real quick, Bishop. I think what makes this protest different and more significant, probably since a protest that was led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., is that for a lot of the things that you have already said, but why the march happened. We watched through social media and video a man lose his life who had never at any point during any of the video showed resistance.
He's handcuffed.
From what I saw, he cooperated from the moment they took him out of his vehicle. And he's handcuffed, walked to a building, somehow gets on the ground, sits down. He gets to a vehicle. I'm not sure if he tripped, slipped, or what, but the next thing you know, he's got his face plastered to the ground for 8 minutes and 46 seconds with a knee to the neck, and you have an officer that's actually just a pompous, overzealous, racist, perhaps abusing his authority, police officer that looks like he's posing for pictures and ready to take autographs. And, you know, it's one thing if a fight occurred between George Floyd and the officer. We didn't see any of that. In fact, there was 2 other individuals in the vehicle that did not even get arrested because there was no lack of cooperation or any resistance that was taking place. So to me, that's why this protest is so significant. That has led to perhaps maybe the most aggressive protest that we have seen, at least I know I've seen, because we're on day 13 and crowds are increasing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Protesters are happening in cities where you would least expect it, not to mention, as you all mentioned, overseas. So by far, for me, this is probably the most significant protest that I've seen. And I got news for everyone. The protests ain't going away no time soon.
Oh
I
no.
don't think so either. Go ahead,
No time
Bishop.
soon. I think we have another 2 weeks of this. It's not going away no time soon.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
If I could interject for a moment, I believe that what has happened nationally is that people have realized that we've been saying Black Lives Matters. They know that all lives matters, but then they're learning that without Black Lives Matter, all lives will not matter.
Mm-hmm.
In order for all lives to matter, because, and I'll go back to what Sergeant Miller was saying. She was, Sergeant Champagne, she was saying that, you know, in her 25 years of tenure, she's been to protestings and she's been to demonstrations and these things. And what we've seen actually happening in the moment of 8 minutes and 47 seconds, we've seen this man hollering, pleading, and mothers across the world, as she said, are saying, "This is my child." And it makes me think of when Mary was looking at Jesus being crucified. So I bring that to say that the people which are called by God's name are starting to humble themselves, and they're praying and they're seeking His face, because the only way we can get through this is with the power of God. Man can't do this, and mothers are crying, and mothers are identifying the pain of it could be my child.
Yeah.
Today I preached. I had a picture that I said, and the police officer said to the kid, "What would you like to be when you grow up?" And the child said, "Alive."
Right.
Indeed.
And I preach, you want to be alive? How could we be alive if we're still living in bondage, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially? And the knee on the neck, which Reverend Al Sharpton articulated and ministered at the homegoing service of George Floyd, really brought something to the mind of people. We have been in bondage so long with the knee on our neck until we got used to it, and we're complacent with it, and the people that were doing it is so used to doing it until they feel comfortable with it. So I agree with
Bishop,
Officer Miller about it.
we received that, Bishop. I want to move on to another question. I want to ask Shabazz, where would you like to see change implemented?
in every area, in every aspect. The educational system, the judicial system, the criminal justice system, the educational, all areas I want change brought about, and a complete change.
But
The,
can
the,
you give me something? What
oh,
type of change?
the judicial system, that has to be changed. We work law enforcement, so I do understand and I know that there's something called the blue code that exists, and
Right.
that's the code where an officer is not supposed to so-called snitch on another officer. That has to be erased. And if these people that are in those high positions, they have to look at this thing now and they have to address it. If there's no telling, if we got protests going on now, if those officers get acquitted or come back with a less favorable sentence or anything, conviction, this country is gonna really blow up.
Oh yeah.
They
Yeah,
ain't
so what do
seen
you think
nothing.
about that? About the blue code? Because me and Shabazz, we work together as correctional officers, so we understand that. You know, he was my mentor, and
I was an FTO. Yeah.
and you know, we do have a connection and understand that. But we get the criminals after the fact, and some of them are not even criminals. Some of them are innocent, really, really innocent. So where do you stand on that?
Are you directing that to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Yeah, it exists. It does exist, you know, and I mean, you know, I can't deny it, but I don't want to get into too much detail about that right now. But, you know, this is, but I'm gonna tell you right now, things happen in front of people when they're comfortable with someone. So if you have an officer that's doing things they're not supposed to be doing, and they working along somebody and they very comfortable with that officer, they're going to do it in front of them. But I'm gonna tell you right now, my 25 years, I can say that, you know, I can look in the mirror and be proud of everything that I've done. Because in the people that I work with, because, you know, I made it my business to work around people who I know who have integrity. So, you know, and I've never seen anything that I can say that, you know, if I turn my back on, that was, you know, that I can't sleep at night.
Right. Kinlaw, what do you feel about that?
Because like I said, it's all about who they get comfortable doing it in front of.
Right.
That's things happen.
Yeah, go ahead, Kinlaw.
To echo off what the lady just mentioned, I think, like you said, people gonna do what you're gonna allow them to do. And that goes in almost every facet of everything. But to go back to the question of change, I think it goes back to the money part. I think there are some communities that are already starting to defund their local police departments. I think it shouldn't be where you're putting more dollars and more resources into your police department than you are the actual communities that are being policed. The same is go for these different private prisons and other entities of jail systems where there's tons and tons of money going towards housing and keeping of the inmates, but instead into the communities where you're going back and it's almost like shooting crabs in a bucket. I think if they start putting more money and resources, when I mean resources, applicable work, applicable childcare, things of that nature, to try to curb some of the stereotypes that goes along with some of these areas that are being targeted. Because most of these areas that are targeted are your lower income based, urbanized locations, you know? And I don't like it when you see a man or someone walking down the street, you're already subjecting that they're doing something illegal, versus if they were to be walking down the street, more than likely they're walking to a job or they're walking to a place of business to take care of some things for themselves. So nothing's going to stop anything 100%, but we have to try to figure out a way where they can curb some of these actions that are taking place. And I think if we put more resources back into the communities where jobs was taken away from and moved out or outsourced, whatever, it can kind of help change the scope on how things look and appear to an officer when they do go and police these said locations.
You know, I want to see, I'm going to give it to Ramel after I'm finished this. Where I want to see change, I want to see change within when you arrested someone and you're locking them up for like misdemeanor charges and things like that. You know, because when I was out there today and we were speaking to a lot of people at that protest, we were talking about how the officers are actually arresting people, putting them in jail because they get paid for this. Like you said, they get, every time you put a body in that jail, you're getting $1,000 to $5,000 for that body a day. You know what I'm saying? So this is why I believe that when they're going out and they're arresting people, it could be for a little, like,
Quotas. They're trying to meet quotas.
right? Just like for this $20 quote that George Floyd supposed to had a counterfeit $20 bill, which they were not even, should not even had arrested this gentleman on that, because that ain't even their jurisdiction to arrest them on that type of matter, you know. But I want to give that over to Ramel, because I want to hear his final thought on that.
Well, this protest, this Zoom call is about police brutality. This is what spearheaded. So for me, I want to focus on that area right there. I want to see change on when we have cops abusing their authority. I want them to be treated just like me. I don't want the delay of this or that. I don't want to see the constant cover up. Yes. The video coverage that we've seen of Ahmaud Arbery in Brunswick, Georgia, was in their hands like a couple of days later. It doesn't come out till 2 months later. Now right. These people are arrested. That's the change that I want to see. I want to see the change that when such activity is committed or crime